Welcome to my channel. Today, I have two cases of child abuse to tell you about. One happened in Pennsylvania against a 6-year-old child that was horribly abused by her father, and the other happened in West Virginia, where a 14-year-old girl was abused and starved to death by her mother. Prepare yourself. The information I'm about to tell you is shocking and so horrific that it's hard to believe that a parent can treat a child, let alone anyone, in this manner. Let's get into our first case. Waynesburg, Greene County, Pennsylvania. John Edward Kraft and wife Frankie Kraft, stepmother of this little girl, lived at 311 Toll Gate Road with 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. The abuse was constant in the household. John was a violent tyrant. He would yell and hit the children, terrorizing his daughter the most. Why she got the brunt of the abuse may never be known, but Child and Youth Services was contacted many times by relatives and neighbors who were concerned for her well-being. The child was often seen with bruises and cuts on her body with tears running down her cheeks. It wasn't until September of 2022 that CYS, Child Services, came for a serious welfare check and were quietly told by Frankie, John's wife, that the little girl was not safe in the home. Frankie continued to tell the child welfare workers that her husband John would throw the little 6-year-old against the wall, choke her, and at times buried her in a hole in the backyard. Frankie explained that the abuse was so bad that the little girl came into the house one night after being buried in the hole and stunk like sewage so bad that Frankie, the wife, had to bathe her 3 times in order for the smell to be washed away. Let's hear from the news report that appeared on Action News 4, and reporter Ashley Zilka, who talked about the case right after John was arrested.
6-year-old daughter and leaving her in a hole alone throughout the night. The Greene County District Attorney describing the disturbing details that happened at this home.
There are allegations that are very severe and barbaric in nature.
50-year-old John Kraft is now in custody after an investigation that started last month. Greene County District Attorney David Russo telling Pittsburgh's Action News 4 it's one of the most brutal cases he has ever seen.
The child was choked to the point of unconsciousness, that the child's head was slammed off the floor and off the wall, that the child was buried in the backyard as punishment. One allegation even states that the child was thrown in a hole and left in a hole overnight.
In September, police say social workers found severe bruises on the 6-year-old girl's face and body. Then about 2 weeks ago, state police took over the case. According to the criminal complaint, the child's sibling told investigators after Kraft left his sister in a hole one night, she came back inside the house smelling like sewage. During the interview, the 6-year-old said her father would beat her with a belt and his arm, which had a metal plate in it. Neighbors told us they knew of the family and never noticed anything suspicious.
I was shocked. Because I don't know. I never took him like that. You never think that. And why hurry?
The allegations didn't stop there. The child said Kraft would use a shovel to dig a hole and cover her in mud and dirt when he believed she was lying. Although Russo would not say anything about the children's mother, he did confirm the victim and her sibling are now in a safe place.
We don't tolerate child abuse or allegations of child abuse, so this man will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Kraft is in custody, facing a number of felony charges, including aggravated assault and strangulation. Reporting in Greene County, Ashley Zilka, Pittsburgh's Action News 4.
That poor little girl. What a horrible thing she had to go through living in that house. We will move on to our next case out of West Virginia as soon as I give you my thoughts on the one we just heard about. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment so I can build the channel. I blame not just the father but Child Services in that county for not saving that child sooner. When researching these cases, I find time after time that Child Services, CYS, waits way too long to remove a child from an abusive situation. Over and over, case after case, the child is either beaten to death, or in this case, abused so badly that they will have to undergo intense therapy for the rest of their life. It is only then, after serious damage is done, they're taken away from evil, nasty pieces of shit parents. Let's move on to our other case from Boone County, West Virginia. Boone County is in the deep southern part of West Virginia. It was here on April 17th of this year that 14-year-old Kennedy Miller was found starved to death. Kennedy lived in the house with her mother Julie, and her grandparents Donna and Jerry Stone lived there too. Kennedy was homeschooled for the past several years, blaming COVID as the reason Mama homeschooled her. As we in social services all know, homeschooling can, at times, be a gateway for child abuse to go undiscovered, because the kiddos are not being physically seen in the brick-and-mortar setting with teachers and other school personnel. This was the situation with Kennedy. She was starved and neglected so badly. No one other than her mother and grandparents knew about it. Once the state of Kennedy's malnourished, starved, and abused status was discovered through a 911 call for an ambulance, it was too late. This beautiful 14-year-old girl wasn't able to survive and was found dead, emaciated to a skeletal state on the bathroom floor of her home. Her mother, well, if you really want to call her that, was arrested that same day, and the grandparents were arrested close to a month later for letting it happen. I can't imagine the pain and suffering Kennedy had gone through in the last several weeks of her short life. Looking at the arrest picture of her mother Julie, and she never missed a meal ever, yet this wicked person starved her own child and left her suffer each and every day for months. Hopefully, Kennedy's mother will enjoy prison food for the rest of her despicable life as she rots behind bars. The thing is, because the law is for the criminals and not for the innocent victims, this monster who starved her child to death will most likely be out and free within a few short years. It should be noted that West Virginia Child Services said they had no prior contact with the family, but some documents that I viewed said they did have contact with the family after police made a welfare check on Kennedy last year. The document I read said the responding officer referred the situation to Child Services at that time. We see this in case after case. Child Services fails to do what's best for the child, and in this particular case, failed big time by denying they were ever involved with the family to save their ass from a lawsuit.